this is kind of how I plan on it being. Let me put that there. Now, the cardstock that I'm using is just from Colorbox. This comes from Walmart, and it's, I mean, I think it's like $5 for 30 sheets. It's pretty, you know, a pretty good deal, I think. So that's just what I've got, so that's what I'm gonna use. Let's see, alrighty. So I took 2 pieces of the 12 by 12. Now, this one, it has the little perforated, you can cut that part off. The way I cut mine is actually, it's still attached. So it just gives you about 1/4 of an inch. So it says about 12 1/4 instead of 12, I think. Yeah, roughly, something like that. All right, so I just cut those down to 9. Let me get my cheats. If I can get the cat off of them. She keeps laying on them. Yeah, so the covers, or the cardstock, you're gonna cut this bit down to 9 by 12, okay? And then on one of those, I did put tape on there. I put 1/4 inch 2 times to make that 1/2, and then we're gonna attach it here. And I did go ahead and I drew my lines because I know that I'm gonna have 1 inch of material around to fold over. So I went ahead and I marked that so that I will know exactly where I need to put my chipboard. I will not need all of this. I'll end up trimming some of that off. That's why this side doesn't have any marks on it, because that way then I'll start here and I'll work my way down, and whatever's left over I can trim off at the end. All right, so then for your chipboard, what you're gonna need is 2 pieces cut down to 7 by 6, okay? So 7 and by 6. So the height of our album will be 7, and then, you know, the width is gonna be 6. Except for on this 3rd piece, we're still gonna have it, the height at 7, but then I cut it down to 5 3/4. And that's because when it folds over, I don't want it being all wonky, and I want it to have a little bit of space so that it folds in nicely. And then our spines, we're gonna have 2 spines, and of course they are cut to 7. And then one is 1 inch and the other one is 7/8 of an inch. And I do believe this one is gonna go on this side, so this side will fold in and then the top will fold over. But I'll explain that when we get that far, okay? So really, the only thing that I have to do, and I should have already done this before I started. I intended to, and then I forgot. So, and that is gonna be actually, I think I'm just gonna use wet glue because that'll just be faster. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and attach these, right? So just peel that. And then, so I'm just gonna use the edge there, and I'm gonna just line it up just to the edge where that tape is, making sure that there's not any hanging over. And one of my pieces might be slightly larger than the other. And then I got my pencil mark there lined up. Okay, so really simple. Give it a good press down. All right, so then the next thing is, I hope you can see over here. I'll try to scoot this down a bit. In this corner, we're gonna pull one of the ones that's 7 by 6. And we are gonna attach it down right inside those lines, okay? And then just place that down right inside those pencil marks. Just right up to. So that's gonna leave roughly about 1 inch around. And mine might not be exact, but as long as it's close to. Let me grab my brayer. And just gonna kind of brayer that down. And then I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna do the same thing just to get that glue really squished around. That's just fun to use. It's fun to do that. It's kind of stress relieving. Okay, I gotta quit. Okay, so then that's gonna be, you know, roughly correct. With the glue, it might slide a little bit. All right, and then in between each one of these, I am gonna use, which I may end up having to get another one of. Yeah, let me just grab another one because I don't think that's not gonna be enough. So we're gonna add this 1/4 inch, and I'm just gonna butt it right up against that, okay? And then snip. And you can see, using the wet glue, this is usually why I use tape, but just for this, I'm with the wet glue. It does kind of cause it to, you know, it's wet, especially the tacky glue, but that's okay. Okay, so that one in between, and then we're gonna take the one that is 7 by 1, and we're gonna place it there. Okay, and then I'm gonna butt that right up against that tape to my line that I've marked there. And, you know, I mean, just to mark those lines, all I did was take my ruler and just, I mean, you know, laid it down here and measured it 1 inch this way, and then just drew my line, just in case you were, you know, I don't know, maybe you're new and you haven't made one, and, you know, you don't know all the little tricks and stuff. So I'm gonna push that up just a hair. I'm gonna make sure that those are lined up. Okay. And turn it over. I'll run my brayer. Just because it's fun. Okay, and I'm just gonna double check it again, make sure, good. Okay, and then we might still have enough on here for this one more. Okay, and do the same thing here. And just right up to it. We might have enough on that roll. Okay. All right, and then for the next one, we're gonna take the 7 by 6 again, and we're gonna attach it there. Okay. Do the same thing. Okay. And that seam where we where we put the two pieces of cardstock together, it's going to be right in the center part of the back, so that's good. Or, you know, maybe not center, but pretty close. Okay. And then in here again. That's it. You know, not quite enough. I'll just, because I want a full strip, so that's okay. Like that. There we go. Okay. And then we want our little 7 by 7/8, because it's just going to be slightly smaller. Okay, and then the same thing there. Now I'm using the one I'm doing here. I'm just kind of roughly doing to just show. Normally I would probably try to do a little bit better. Okay, so then that, just making sure it hasn't slid on me. Okay. And the corners don't want to stay down very good, but that's okay. It will when we get ready to do it together. All right, so then this tape again. And snip. Right there. And then our last piece, the 7 by 5 3/4. Okay, and it will go. And then the same deal. So see, we have just a little bit extra here, and that's okay. It's we'll just trim that off, and it won't be no big deal. So then all I will do to that is take my ruler, and since we have the grid that goes this way, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be 1 inch. So I'm going to line the edge of my chipboard up with that line there. Okay. And then draw, and then that gives me 1 inch there, and I'll just cut that bit off and we'll be good. So I'll just do that while we're going. Okay. And we can keep that for something else. All right. Now for around the edge, I am going to use tape. Okay, I'm going to use this 3/4 inch tape. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get this, I don't know if it fits all in here so that I can see. So I'm just going to take this tape, and I'm just going to go right up to the edge here. Okay, and well, try not to get wrinkles in it, but it's so long till it kind of does. Now I don't have to go all the way to the edge, and I'm going to do that to all of these, and then I will go through on the chipboard itself, and I'm going to add just the 1/4 inch. Okay, so got all of that lined with my score tape, and now all we're gonna have to do is go through and cut our corners. I don't have, you know, they have those little tools, and you can, I mean, you can measure, you can use the little tool that they have. I just use my ruler, and I take where the center mark is, and I move it to about, you know, right in there. So like for the tip of my chipboard, I put it right, because this is 1/8 of an inch here. So, and that's about what I want. So I'll just put that right to the edge. And I mean, you know, it's just really kind of a guess then. And I just draw me a line. And I just go around and I do that for all of these. Okay, so there's that done. And that might not be the most accurate, but you know. And then I'm just gonna take my scissors and cut straight across. And I'll do that on all 4 corners. Alrighty. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna lean this up, and I'm just gonna work it back and forth, pressing it against my table. And I'm sorry, I know I'm shaking you. Okay, because it is, I mean, this cardstock, being that craft, it is a thicker, you know, it is a thicker cardstock. So you have to kind of work it and mold it and all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of get it trained to go the way I want it to go. You know? And too, it does make it a little bit harder when you've got, you know, such a long piece, but I think it's going to be really cute in the end. Okay. Feels like that piece might have been just slightly smaller than the others, or thinner, I don't know. Okay. And then same thing with the edge pieces. Just gonna work those over. Okay, so I'm gonna do the longer sides first, and I don't know if we're all got the whole thing in here. Almost. I think good enough maybe that you can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna peel all of these back on this side. Okay. That one. And then I'm gonna lift, oops, I'm gonna actually lift these. Okay, just a hair. Well, and by putting the tape, you know, on this piece and here, I know I'm gonna have full coverage of that on the entire thing as it folds over. Okay. And then I'm just gonna start rotating in the center first. Okay. Kind of work it down in these gaps. Right. And just kind of pressing it as we go. Okay, and then do the same to this side here. Okay, and then we'll do the edges. Now these ends, I'm gonna take my bone folder and I'm just gonna fold over in that little bit that's left there. Like that. And like this. Okay. Fold that over. Alrighty, so there's that. So when we fold it in, well, actually it's gonna go this way because that's the bigger spine here. It's gonna be like that. All right, so we'll worry about folding that in. We're gonna cut little pieces to cover in these gaps. So what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna take my, do I want, no, let me see. Let me just do this one because it'll be, I think it'll just be easier. I'm gonna leave about 1/4 of an inch there on the top. I'm gonna go straight down the middle, leaving a little over, really, I guess, 1/4 of an inch there. And then I'm gonna line this one right up against, right to that edge. Okay, going about the same distance as those. And I'm gonna do that here as well. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to this one. Okay, so with those taped up like that, I'm gonna set that to the side and I'm gonna grab these two pieces that we had left over. And I'm gonna cut those down to, they broke it. No, they broke it. Oh, my kitties knocked my trimmer off. I mean, it's still gonna work, but oh, they broke it. Shame on them. Shame on them. Okay, let's go here. All right, so our book covers the height. It's gonna be 7, right? It's gonna be 7. Well, it is 7. So I want this to have about 1/8 of an inch top to the bottom. So I'm gonna cut it at 6 3/4. Okay, and these would make good little tags. So I'm just gonna sit them to the side and then pull these in. Oh, that just breaks my heart. It does. Okay, and then on these, yeah, they're gonna be plenty enough, you know, plenty big enough. So then all I'm gonna do on these is I'm gonna run tape along the top, all 4 sides. All right, so on these, I decided to go ahead and do 2 strips here because it is a little bit wider than that, and I want to make sure that it's gonna be adhered good. And then one thing else that I noticed I forgot to do is I also want tape on the outside part of that. Let me go ahead and peel these because they're getting on my nerves. So I'm also gonna put tape right on the outside of these. And you could just glue these down too, but it would take a minute for it to dry, and then it might pop open and you'd have to clamp it and hold it and do all that good stuff. So we'll just tape it and be done with it on this part. Okay. So then, got that done. Okay, and then all we're gonna do is just peel these. Peel them, take the backings off. Okay, and then I'm gonna stand up to do this because that way I can get my head over it pretty decent. Okay, and I'm just gonna line it up as center it across. I can see like where my little marks are there, so I'm just gonna line it up as best I can, and I'm gonna have about 1/8 on the bottom and 1/8 on the top. Now I'm gonna hold it up like this, okay, because I don't want that completely stuck down. I'm gonna find this and I'm gonna run it down in there because I want it to stick. Okay, and then press that down and then do the same thing in this one. Because if you let them sides go down, then you'll have a hard time getting it to go down in that fold the way you want it to. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And for me, it just so happens to work out that this corner of this or edge of this is just the right size to get down in there. Like so. Clean up my mess. All right, so there's that folded, and then we can just start to kind of work that up. Okay, get it, you know, get some of the tension out of it. So this is the side that goes in. So it's gonna go like that. Okay, now I will have a closure because, you know, which right now it's gonna pop because this hasn't been broken in very good. So we can, you know, we can break it in though. Get it flexible enough to do. So yeah, like that. I like it. Then it'll fold and it'll fold. And then I think I won't have fins or tabs or anything like that on these. I think everything that I put on here, the flips and flaps, is going to be done directly to these panels, and this will be left open. Okay, so, all right, so we've got, this is our little album we just did, right? Made it, got it together. And I have went through and I have already cut down all of my mats and pages and things like that. I do have measurements and all that, so I will go through and tell you what all of those are. And so yeah. And then I just had that to hold it together so it wouldn't like flopping around everywhere. Okay. And the first things I guess we're gonna cover are going to be the insides here, okay? And let's see, they're not all exactly the same, so all right, I think that's how they are, like so. Okay, now the middle one I'm not gonna attach first because, and really I guess you didn't really need the cardstock, the same color as your base mat. You could just use your pattern paper, but I already have them, and I really didn't think about it until afterwards. So because I've already put one together actually, so I did do, and before we go into that, I'll just do a little flip through on this. So I had just put together another one really quick, and I used different paper for this, and that's how I ended up with my little closure. I like it. I think it turned out really cute. This is still paper. Well, this paper came from Paper Studio, and I'm not sure what it was called, but anyways, it came from Hobby Lobby. All right, so it opens this way, and then it opens this way, and on this side we have a waterfall, and it just goes like this. Now the measurements for these, which I'll get into all the measurements and all of that, but then there's a pocket back here, and I won't tell you the measurements on this one because it's going to be the exact same for that, and then I'd be telling you twice. So I did kind of try a little something here. I'm probably not going to do the same for this one that I did here. I'm probably going to do it a little different. So, and then that just goes like that. And then we have a pocket here, and I just use black cardstock as my tags, and I did the gel pen around the black. It kind of reminds me of like these snowflakes, and so I just did that. And then this opens this way, and we got just a little flap here. These little circle bits, they came from the paper, and I just cut those down and made them little embellishments. So that's, you could put a picture, you could journal, whichever. And then it opens this way, and I just stuck another one of those right there, and it actually, if you stick a picture in there, it'll stick behind that. All right. And then these flip up and flip down. So nice area for, mainly for photos. And I didn't go all out and embellish everything because I was just trying to kind of see how I wanted this one laid out, because I mainly wanted to use that other paper. So, and then the center part here, these are not attached like down below as well, so that, whatever you stick, it will tuck on the top and on the bottom like that. And then this opens this way, and we have another one of those little flips, another little tag, and then it flips out this way, and then nice area for photos, and then just the back side here for photos. So very simple. I mean, I didn't use magnets on these. I kind of wish I would. That way that wouldn't flop out like that, but it's okay. I did use a magnet for the waterfall to keep it closed down, but that's about it. So I had cut one too many pages to go in the other one, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. So I'll just add that in. That'll be the only thing different, really, other than the embellishing. And I am going to go with the black and the white stitched look. I kind of like it. I think it's cute, and I just, simple. Just simple. Okay? Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and attach the these two on the sides. I thought about using my tape gun. I think I did on that one, but I think for this I'm gonna just use some wet glue. Okay. And to put it on here, I'm just gonna line it up with this piece here, making sure that it has, you know, about an eighth of an inch all the way around. So this mat, so if you've already got your book, to mat this, if you're gonna do it this way, you're gonna cut this at 5.5 by 6 3/4. Let me make sure I did write that right. Yes, 5.5 by 6 3/4. Okay. So yeah, okay. Then the one here on the front is gonna be a little bit larger. It's gonna be 5 3/4 by 6 3/4, and that's gonna go right here on the front. Okay. Okay, so glue on that. And what I did to keep myself straight while I was cutting mats, I went through and I measured everything and I wrote on it what size the mat needed to be so that I could go through and cut everything at the same time. And I think it worked out okay. We'll see. If I got anything wrong, I'll figure it out as we go. Okay, so that mat there. Okay. Let me go through and at least kind of go over it a little bit. So we want it down good. Okay. And then before we attach this one down, I am going to attach the papers for the fronts and the sides down first, okay? I'm gonna put these two here, okay? So to mat inside these bits, I cut it at, I've got 1 by 6 3/4, but slightly smaller than 1. So, you know, maybe about 7/8. I don't really think I measured it. Let me double check though. It's slightly over 7/8, but 7/8 would work. So yeah, okay. And then this one here is slightly smaller than 7/8, okay? So it's more like, I mean, it's just like really under. And I didn't measure like to the 16ths or anything like that, but just, you know, if you cut it down to that, just go a hair bit over and then you'll be good. Because mine pretty much go from the edge of that chipboard to the edge of that chipboard because these are such big gussets and I wanted you to be able to see more of that paper. But if you wanted to, you could just cut it down to that exact, you know, a 1/4 of an inch smaller than what the actual piece was, if that makes sense. Alrighty, so on these, I think I'm going to just use my tape runner because that wet glue does not work as great on these, in my opinion. And like I said, the paper that I'm using is from Recollections, and it is, I mean, I've had it for a while, for a few years at least. So it's probably not available anymore. But, you know, it doesn't have to be the same. You could use, you know, I use whatever kind you want. I really wished I had some more of it. I really liked it. There were a few pages in there that I've done used up. Okay, now these are gonna go straight up to this edge, okay? So because I already know it's gonna have that 1/8 of an inch on the edge, so I did that like that, okay? It's not very, I never can, and I'm gonna run it down the middle just to be on the safe side. I never can operate that thing right. Alrighty, and then this one, same thing, right to that edge. Pretty much just edge to edge, okay? I did ink. I already went through and inked up all of my mats and things like that as well. The pattern, pattern paper, I inked those. I did in the cardstock, and I just used ground espresso. Okay, and I'm just gonna do the same. Oh, I did back mat. I didn't write on that what that is, did I? Okay, 6 by 6 3/4. So height wise for these mats, 6 3/4, and then 6. Which is actually the size of our chipboard we have, but when you wrap it and you've added that, it kind of adds a little bit extra to the sides, and so that's why I cut my paper down to about the same size or smaller, so that it leaves a nice 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And then I'm gonna hold it up here where I can kind of estimate it a little bit. Okay. And I got a little more at the bottom, but that's okay. When I was talking about the paper being Recollections, which I think is from Michael's, this one does not come with that paper pad. Jenny All Sorts from Etsy. So it's just a pack of these. They're all gingham, and you have different colors of the gingham. And then let me just show you right quick, because I don't think I did I think I had a flip through, but I don't think I have it in here now. But that's the paper collection. I think it was like from 2018. So, but anyways, pretty. I like it. All right. So there's that. Backside, yes, okay. And then this one is gonna go here on the front side. Right, make sure I got it right side up. And yes, okay. 6 3/4 by 5 7/8, 6-ish. It's just right under 6, so 5 7/8, which is not, I mean, it's not a whole big, bunch of difference, but okay. Like that. And I did not have these cut yet, because I couldn't decide. I think I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to do the black, but I haven't already cut those, so I will do that in a little bit. I think that's the one thing I didn't have done. I remember when I cut this, I actually cut it down too short, and I only had, I think, one of these sheets. So it is 5 1/2, and it should have been 5 3/4 by 6 3/4. So I'm just going to put these right here to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this down, and I'm going to add something here on this side to decorate, and so you won't even know. So it'll be all right. Okay. And this one's going to line up right up with that underneath, which is why I said it's not really necessary that we even put the cardstock on there. It does add some, thickness and sturdiness to the cover, so I'm okay with it. Optional. You don't have to do it. But I think I did it that way because I wasn't quite sure, like, if I was gonna do pockets on this part, if I was just gonna leave it. I wasn't really decided yet, and so that's why I went ahead and done it that way. If I had decided to leave some of that plain, you wouldn't, you know, be able to see the underside part. So, okay. Now, I'm gonna put this glue up for a second, and we're gonna work on this piece right here. This one has the waterfall and all of that on there, so there's no need to cover this back part because you're not gonna see, you're gonna be adding stuff on top of that. So, let me get this one. Okay, so I kind of got them mapped out of how I want them to go somewhat. We'll see how good I did. So for the first little piece that's going to go on here, it's going to go on the left side. I took a piece of cardstock and I cut it down to 6 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I scored it at a 1/2 inch, and then I scored it at 1 inch on the on one side, okay? Because it's 6 3/4 and 6 3/4. It's not really gonna matter which side you pick, just as long as it's at a 1/2 inch and then at 1 inch. And then I've already put tape on the one, the 1/2 inch part, because it's gonna go in here like this, and then it's gonna have like this little gusset so that the other pages fit under it, okay? And you will need one of those. And I guess we could just go ahead and stick it in. I was thinking, oh, no. I am going to angle my corners though, just because. Okay. So it is going to go right up to where, and I was going to see if I could get that down in there just a little bit more. It is going to go straight up without going over, because we want it to still, you know, fold in, but it's going to be like right like that. And as long as it's lined up top and bottom here, I'm just going to lift this corner while I'm holding it in place. And I'm just gonna tear those, well, as best I can. Oh, come on, what's the hold up? Normally, that does not give me troubles. This time it gave me troubles. Okay, like that, and then we'll stick it down. Okay, oh, I think it's because that tape is hanging off the edge, that's why. That's okay, because it's gonna, it's not really gonna matter once we map the inside here, okay? So that's gonna be like that, all right? And then on top of this one, I have another flap here, and this one is, this I put extra because this is the one extra one that I cut, 6 3/4 by 5 1/2, and you're gonna score it on, score it at a 1/2 inch on the 5 1/2 inch side. And when I say what side, that side goes in the top of the scoreboard. Here, I'll just use my little small one just to show you. So it's gonna go with the 5 1/2 inch side is gonna be to the top of the scoreboard, and then you score it on that long side, okay? And that gives you your little, so anytime I say that, because that's how I'll say it, is score it on this side, and that's what that means. The side that it's being scored on is what's gonna go in the top of the scoreboard, okay? Now, tell them that you won the game. So if you can hear my son, he's over there whispering because he wants me to tell everybody that they won their game. So he had a football game today, their jamboree, and he is a mini midget, and they won their game. He wanted me to tell everybody that they won their game, so they did a good job. Say, go Bobcats. All right. All right, so now we're gonna attach this one on this side. Okay, and I'm actually gonna flatten this out as best I can get it here. And making sure that this lines up with the two sides here. Okay, and for me, I know it's, here, let me do it like this. I'm gonna peel it back just a hair, because I find for me, of course, I mean, everybody has their own way that they like to hold and do. So however it works the best for you to line it up, then that's how you do it. I'm gonna go like that. And I'll just, I think that's pretty decent. So then I'm just gonna squish it down. And there we go. So you'll put it up right up to that score line without going over that score line, okay? The one, the other one, which is this one, which it says 2 at, and really you do need 2, but I cut 1 extra, so there's actually gonna be 3. The other one is in the other little set that we're gonna attach in just a minute. So we're gonna finish this side of it up first, and then we will go to the other. This one, I'm gonna angle it too, just to be, because, you know, the same. And it just helps to, if it happens to be a little bit longer on that side, it's not going to maybe show as much, okay? And so I'm gonna hook it this way. Okay, now you could do it like, you know, you could do it this way and line it up right to this side and attach it to this side. I feel like it just kind of looks better if it's to the other side. I mean, maybe that's just me, I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing. And if you see writing on, like say on this side, it says mats. When we go to mat it, I'll go through that and show you as well. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna lay that down, I'm gonna hook that over, make sure, I feel like if I make sure that my bottom's all nice and lined up, then the top should be nice and lined up, okay? And I'm just gonna peel that. Oops, and I moved it. Yes, I did. Hang on. Well, let's do it this way then. Yeah, good. Okay. And then, of course, rub that down like that. And then it's going to go this way. Okay. Now flipping back to this side, so you're gonna have your 2 little flippy outs here, and we're gonna go to the inside part of this, and you're gonna have 2, okay, at 5 1/4 by 5, and on the 5-inch side, well, 5-inch side, because it's gonna go this way, in the scoreboard, this top in the scoreboard, you're gonna score it a 1/2 inch down that way, okay? This one, now I am gonna attach it to this side. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and peel a piece of it back, and it is a little bit, it's gonna be a little bit smaller than this, so you are gonna have about 1/4 inch on each side, and I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting it all the way up there to that top. Now it's going over, I'm gonna have to lean it up so I can see. Yeah, and I may be a little off, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go with it like that. And no, that's pretty good, okay? And then the other one, I'm gonna leave this one down. The other one, we're gonna do the exact same thing, except it's gonna go at the bottom. I am going to line up with this one. Sorry, I know my arm's in a awkward position, but I feel like I'm pushing that when I do it like that. Okay. Like that. Like that. And then I'm just gonna hold that and pull, and it should stay like that. Yeah, okay. And then I'll have it go this way and this way. Then this will close in here. And then on the top side of this one, we're gonna put a pocket, okay? And for the pocket, which actually, I wrote it on it this way too, but it's okay. The pocket you are gonna cut down, or cut to 7 3/4 by 5. And then you're gonna score at a 1/2 inch on the 2 shorter sides and then on one of the longer sides, okay? So both short sides, one long side. And then that'll get you your pocket. Fold those in. And then I will take these corners and cut them straight across. And straight across, okay? And I just want to make sure that yeah, they look good. After we've got these two on here, we're going to add our little pocket, okay? And I'm going to move this out so that I can lay this flat. Okay, so this is the last little flap that we attached on there. And I'm going to put a pocket to this side of the flap. Like that. Now what I did do is I got the center part of this. Okay, and that's with my flaps closed in, or my little tabs folded in. So that's going to be 3 3/8. Yeah, okay. And I just marked how far I knew my little mat under here is going to go, because I don't want you to be able to see the, to make it look weird under there. Alrighty, and then I just took my punch, my circle punch. I marked where my center was at. And you've got these, and my punch is a 2.5 inch punch, and you've got these like 3 little lines right in there. I just lined my little dash mark up with my punch, and there we go. Okay. And then we're gonna attach this down. Just turn it. Move that kind of out of the way a little bit. I'm gonna turn it this way because it's just gonna be easier for me to see how to line it up. Okay. And this one's gonna be on this mat here. Yeah, because I'm gonna line this back side up first. Okay, so I'm gonna peel that. I'm not gonna peel the sides yet. I'm just gonna peel that one, and I'm just gonna line it up as best I can, making sure that the sides line up as well, and they do. So then we'll give it a good press, okay? And then I'm gonna take tape. Can you hear my tape dispenser? It's noisy. Okay, and I'm gonna put tape on that because I hate, and it could have been a little bit longer, but that's okay. Because I hate it when you go to put a tag in and it gets caught on that piece. It's annoying. So I'm just gonna press it down really, really good. Like that, okay? And then, oh, I did not angle these. So let me do that now. Just at a weird angle, there we go. And then we'll peel this and stick it down. Like that. Okay. Alrighty. So then it's gonna go like this. And I know it's all like right now, but once we put our mats and stuff on there, that's gonna help it to, you know, have a little more weight to it. And so, yeah. If you didn't like it all folded out like this, you could have done one of these on this side and had them both open up. That would have been cute too. I almost kind of wish I'd have done that maybe, but here's where we are. So that's what I got so far. Okay, so then I have this one, and I'm just gonna take my little mats that I have. I feel like I'm missing some. I got one over here. I'm not really sure like where it came from. Out of which pile. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna put all these to the side. I'm gonna keep them bunched together though, so that I know where and where they, you know, where they go. But that way we can get this out of the way first. Okay, so I'm gonna open this back up, and then I'm gonna take my next piece, which is gonna be this one right here. Okay. And you're gonna have to have one of these, and this one's gonna be at 6 3/4 by 6 1/4. And you're gonna score at a 1/2 inch and then at 3/4 of an inch on the 6 1/4 inch side. So this is my 6 1/4 inch side, and I scored at a 1/2 inch, and then I scored at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, I even made that little note there, always to the top of the scoreboard for the side that I'm telling you to score on. Okay. And I made this little gusset a little bit smaller because it's going to actually, everything's going to be on the inside. So it's going to fold in first, and then this is going to fold over on that. Okay. So snip corner, like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay this down on here, going right up to that line without going over. Like, and when you've got your little gusset there from where it folds, you can tell where your chipboard under there is at. So I'm going just slightly to the edge of that, not even, and then just making sure that my sides here line up with that matte or matte-ish piece that I've got underneath there already. Okay, and then we'll hold that. Pull that tape. Make sure it still lines up, and like that. Okay. And I do realize that some of that now is upside down, but that's okay. You can pause it, like when I hold it up, you can pause it on there, and it will, you know, show you the measurements. Okay. Okay, so then this mat, this is that other one, and I don't have it, anything written on it, but it's going to be the same as this one right here. It's going to be 6 3/4 by 5 1/2, and you are going to score at a 1/2 inch on the 5 1/2 inch side. At least I'm pretty sure. I will double check though. 5 1/2, 6 3/4. Okay. And then actually I'm gonna fold that way. And this one is actually going to clip over on this side. And then turn that over and flatten that down. Like that. And then we're gonna have a pocket on this side. And this pocket is going to be 6 by 4 1/2. And then you are gonna score on both the short sides and on one of the long sides. So I'm just gonna cut those corners off again. Don't forget these this time. Okay. And then this one's gonna go here. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this one out again so that it's just easier to work on the top of, and peel that off there. And I can't go over that. Well, let's see. Okay, and then just give that a good press. Okay, and then the same thing I'm gonna do there with that tape so that what I'm putting in there does not get stuck. Okay. Oops. And just make sure that it's got good, you know, contact. We don't want that coming up either, okay? And then just peeling those and sticking it down. Going that way. And then this is going to attach on here. And I'm just gonna stick it on here, and I'm just gonna eyeball. I'm gonna leave just a little over 1/4 inch so that you can see the paper behind it on that side, and then I'm just gonna give it a good press too, okay? And then that'll fold like that. Okay, and then we'll go this way. Let me go back to, I forgot this one. I had 2 of those. Here's the other one. And I think I just did these because I just had the scrap paper that I had left over. It was just the size of some of that, and so I just kind of done it that way. Okay, so it's going to be slightly different than that other, but I'm going to just do it this way. Okay, and then just give that a good press like that. Okay. So I kind of was thinking that maybe doing it this other way because there's more space. I feel like it's going to be there than on the top here. So I think I'm actually going to fold it in this way instead of having this flap come out over the top of this, like this, because I kind of don't like how that looks together. So I'm just going to fold it like right the opposite, and it's going to go inside because there's more space in there. And then we'll have that waterfall over here, so then it will go like that. Yeah, okay. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so this side, or this middle part right here, actually I'm gonna go ahead and do this so I don't forget it. We're gonna add in this piece here. So this is gonna be this middle mat, and this is why we wanted to wait. And I am probably gonna have to take it and cut it down just a little bit because I wanted it, I don't want it to interfere, and actually I might not. That might just be just right. So I'm gonna use wet glue. So this mat is 5 7/8 by 6 3/4. Okay, and I don't think I did anything slight about it. I think it is 5 7/8. Yes, 5 7/8. And then on top of that, I am going to put this one. And I want this to kind of line up with how this mat is and these are. So I think that's how I did. Let me, I made this one so I could kind of have somewhat of a reference, I guess. And I think I might have, nope, I did do it different. I did. because these in here are matted different. Yes. So let me actually take that and I'm gonna trim it down. Oops, not that with it, just a little bit, because I don't want it like that yet. Okay, so take this 6 3/4, actually go 6 1/2. I want it to be the same as when we mat these bits, so that is why I ended up adding that piece. So yeah, like that. Okay, and I'm just gonna use my tape. Okay, and then we're just gonna center it right in the center, right? Center it in the center. And mine is probably not perfect, so. Okay. Like that. Alrighty. And then this side, we're gonna go ahead and do our waterfall and that type of bit down through there. So let me get my mats for that to the side. So you are gonna need, for the waterfall part, you're gonna need 5 at 4 3/4 by 5 1/2, and you're gonna score at a 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 inch side, okay? Like that. And I don't guess that's necessary. And let me go through and do all of these. Okay, and then you're also gonna need a pocket, and it is gonna measure 6 1/2 by 4 1/2, and you are gonna score it a 1/2 inch on the 2 short sides and 1 of the long sides. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna snip my corners off here and here. Okay, and then I'm also, while I've got this pocket laying here, I'm gonna find my center on it. I want the flaps closed in on this. Makes it just a little bit easier. Not much, but a little bit. Okay, so I want it to be right in the center here. This is gonna be 2 3/4 is where the center is gonna be at. And I'm just gonna take my pencil and I'm just gonna mark a line as close as I can get it there. And then I'm gonna take my little tool again, okay? And I'm gonna stick it in here and kind of, I mean, it's, you know, pretty much, oh, wait a minute. Did I already do, no, I didn't. I haven't already made a map that goes behind this, so I don't have to worry about that part, I don't think. Okay. So, just, I'm gonna eyeball it, but lining that up, just sticking it in. I don't even know if I want to go that far, maybe. And, ow, got my finger, got my hand in there. Watch your hand. Okay, ooh, I should have paid attention. Okay, look. So my handwriting right there, it's, yeah. So just note to self, if you do like me and you write on your papers when you go to do this stuff, make sure, because now that's gonna show, because I'll have a border, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep this little piece as well, and I'm gonna put it with these, and I'm just gonna hold on to that for just in case, because when I go to punch the what you call it out, I might can use that, I don't know, to help. Okay. Alrighty, so on these, I am not gonna angle the corners, I think. No, I am not. I am not gonna cut these off. I'm gonna leave them just like they are, okay? And then I'm gonna make this one my top one, since it's got everything on there, and I'm gonna flip this around so that I can see what I'm doing, okay? And I'm going to peel this tape, and I'm gonna line it up. It is gonna line up exactly with this mat, okay? So from this edge to this edge, it is gonna line up. It should line up exactly, okay? So I'm just gonna, if I can get that to cooperate, I'm gonna stick that corner to this corner, and then I'm gonna stick this corner to this corner. Okay, I'm gonna press this side, but I'm gonna lay it down and make sure that my sides line up as well. Ooh, I think I tore that. Yes, I did. Not all the way off. Come on. Get it. Did I tear it again? No, okay. Whew. All right, so I'm gonna lay that, make sure that that sticks flat. Okay. And then the next one, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna do the exact same thing, except now I'm gonna line it up right to the edge of that one, making sure that these edges line up like that. And then so on and so forth down through here like that. Okay, so there's our little waterfall. Right, so then you should have, there might be slightly a little bit more there, but you should have about, you know, a 1/2 inch between. And they should all line up pretty straight. And this is where we are gonna put a magnet to hold, because that's gonna be, that's annoying like that, right? Let me get some magnets. I'm gonna go ahead and put mine on there. That way I can put this little piece on before I stick my pocket on, because on the last one it was kind of an afterthought, and so I had to kind of, you know, do a little maneuvering. Now I think I've had these magnets for a while, but I think I got these off of Amazon. Okay, now I need, because I didn't cut this piece yet, so let me get a scrap. All right, so for the little piece here, I'm gonna use my well tab, whatever this is, Stampin' Up! Punch. I love that thing. I use it all the time. And I think that's gonna be about right. Or how? I've got a weird edge on that. Hang on. This one's got a weird edge. Oh, Maui. Stop it. I'm just going to trim off a slight hair. And when I say a slight hair, I mean a very small hair, okay? Because it had a weird, like, torn edge. Now, on the other one, I used black. So, that bugs me. Okay, let's see. I used black on this one. But I think I'm going to use, I think I'm going to do a little bit different. I think I'm going to use this, because I've already punched it for one, but I think that's kind of the direction I'm going to go. So this piece, let's see. Let's do, this piece is 1 3/8 by 4 3/4. And I'm going to put it in here on that longer side there, the 4 3/4 inch side, and I'm going to score it a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to take my tape and just run a piece there. Like so. And I'm going to angle them a little bit. It's not really going to matter. I feel like it's just going to help me when I go to stick it up in there. Help me wiggle it in. I don't know. It might not do nothing. But it make, well, you know what? I'm not wiggling it in this time. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you're crafting late at night, and you should probably just be in the bed. Because my other one, jeez Louise. Okay. Get this show on the road. Okay, so I'm gonna attach this here. Now I do not need that. That big. So I'm gonna lay that there, and I'm gonna take my pencil and I'm just gonna mark right there. And then I'm just gonna put it in my trimmer and trim it off. Okay, like that. And then this piece, line those up, fill that in. And yeah, okay. Let me go ahead and I'm just gonna use a piece of tape. I'm gonna put tape there. Oh, actually, you know what? Do I? Well, let's see. Okay. I'm going to take one of my little magnets. Then, and I'm going to take a piece of tape and then stick it on there. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then I'm going to just place it like in the center part of that. Actually, I'm gonna move it up just a hair because, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna move it up there. And then on this piece, I'm going to take my little corners and I'm just gonna snip the edges off just slightly, like that. And then I'm gonna take this, because that way then I can make sure, I mean, I guess really that's not necessary, guys. Y'all can probably not even have to do that, really. But I want this to sit right. It's gonna go right to that edge pretty much, but I'm gonna go right there. So what I did is I just lined up where I snipped those, that little point to the point of that, and then yeah, And then this is gonna go on there like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna just glue the other side down. That's gonna have tape on it, but I'm gonna glue it as well because I want it to hold. And then I'm just gonna close that up in there. And I'm gonna hold it for just a minute to keep the sides, you know, from popping. Take my magnet and stick it there. Clip another little piece of tape. Okay, attach that there. And then I'm going to attach this down. Now I do kind of want it to be centered, so let me, before I do that, let me check. Oh, as flat as I could get that anyways. Okay, let's go. 2 3/4. So this will be center. Which means the center of this one's gonna be about right there. Okay, so just made myself some little pencil marks there to kind of, you know, keep an eye on how I'm gonna put this down. And I'm gonna go a little bit down because I still have that pocket to put on here, and you know, I want it's gonna fit just right up to that. So I'm gonna give or allow that to have just a tad bit of space, like so maybe. Okay, and then just give that a good press. Okay, and then holding this down, I'm gonna peel the back off of that magnet there, and I'm not gonna smash this flat down because we're gonna add papers, and so it is gonna kind of, you know, it's gonna build up a little bit of bulk, and so I'm just gonna kind of loosely, because we want it to be able to have room in there, right? Okay, so like that. So there we go. There's that one attached down. Okay, so we've got all of the pages in, some of the mats. Okay, so on these, I do have measurements, and if I don't have exactly, or if I don't get it just down to a T, to what you need, just whatever size you're doing, your mats are 1/8 of an inch smaller, not 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way. Oh yeah, I need to put my pocket on here. I forgot it. And then fold this up and make sure it just lines up to those sides, and it does. So I'm just gonna peel those back and stick that down. Yay.